Hi, my name is Mike. In today's video, it might be a two-parter because I've got some extra information I want to add to this article I'm about to read. It's called Ukraine War Has Stoked Global Food Crisis That Could Last for Years, says UN. That's the article. I think let's just see if we can see that. Not really clear. Let me put the article up. Right, let me just read part of the article, and I'll leave a link to this article and to other articles in a similar vein at the top of the comment section. The United Nations has warned that the war in Ukraine has helped to stoke a global food crisis that could last years if it goes unchecked, as the World Bank announced an additional $12 billion in funding to mitigate its devastating effects. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said shortages of grain and fertilizer caused by the war, warming temperatures, and pandemic-driven supply problems threatened to tip tens of millions of people over the edge into food insecurity as financial markets saw share prices fall heavily again. Speaking at a UN meeting in New York on global food security, he said what could follow would be a malnutrition, mass hunger and famine in a crisis that could last for years, as he and others urged Russia to release Ukrainian grain exports. He said he was in intense contact with Russia and with other countries to try to find a solution. The complex security, economic and financial implications require goodwill on all sides for a package deal to be reached, he said. Moscow's invasion of Ukraine and international economic sanctions on Russia have disrupted supplies of fertilizer, wheat, and other commodities from both countries, pushing up prices for food and fuel, especially in developing nations. Together, the warring nations produce 30% of the world's wheat. Before the invasion in February, Ukraine was seen as the world's breadbasket, exporting 4.5 million tons of agricultural produce per month through its ports, 12% of the planet's wheat, 15% of its corn, and half of its sunflower oil. But the ports of Odessa, Kurmasov, and others are cut off from the wall by Russian warships. The supply can travel only on congested land routes that are far less effective. Prices have skyrocketed. The UN's Food and Agricultural Price Index reached an all-time high of almost 160 points. Cereal and meat price indicators also hit record highs. Also it says here, so a year ago it says wheat, let me go back to it, a year ago wheat was trading in Chicago at 674 cents per bushel. Today it fetches 1,242 cents per bushel, in a near doubling of the price driven and compounded by lack of supply. Where have we heard about wheat or food shortages? Well, in the book of Revelation, chapter 6. Let me just read that. Revelation chapter 6. Verse 1 onwards. And now I watched when the Lamb opened one of the seven seals, and heard one of the four living creatures say with a loud voice like thunder, "Come!" And I looked, and behold, a white horse, and its rider had a bow, and a crown was given him. And he came out conquering and to conquer. So I believe that to be the pandemic that's been going on over the last couple of years. When he opened the second seal, I heard the second living creature say, "Come." And out another horse, bright red, its rider was permitted to take peace from the earth, so that people should slay one another, and he was given a great sword. We're seeing signs now of the horses riding. So the first one, pandemic. Second one, war. And it's going to get worse and worse as time goes on, as the riders ride, and the birth pangs get worse. And he opened the third seal, and I heard the third living creature say, "Come." And I looked, and behold, a black horse, and its rider had a pair of scales in his hand. And I heard what seemed to be a voice in the midst of the four living creatures say, "A quart of wheat for a denarius, and 3 quarts of barley for a denarius, and do not harm the oil and the wine. So you can see famine as well. Anyway, I'll do a part 2. God bless. Bye-bye.